Look at this. I made this. And for a first time making something, I think that's pretty good. Want to see how I made it? Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Felicia and this week I decided to do a little bit of a DIY project. I've never really done a DIY project before. This is my first one. And you know what? It went alright. Why? Excellent. Boom. Cool. Oh, that was awesome. Step number one was to come up with a rough plan. I went through a few different ideas and I watched a few videos, but none of them really hit home for me. I could find at least one thing in each of them that I wanted to change or do differently. Eventually, I settled on the Glidecam recreation using PVC and wood, and my design looked a little like this. Basically, a center post with a top and a bottom plate and two axes determined by two different sized PVC rings. Seems simple enough. Then it was time to purchase the materials. I did have an old-ish drill, but I didn't have any drill bits, so I really had to also think about the tools that I needed, not only the materials. I wrote up a rough list and I went to the place where all Australians go to get their tools, their building supplies, and attend a sausage sizzle, Bunnings. In fact, because there was a little bit of trial and error, I went there 3 times. And would you believe it?
There's actually no sausage sizzle. There is no sausage sizzle. Disappointing.
Anyway, once I had everything together, it was time to get to work. I had 4 different sized lengths of downpipe, which I had to cut down to size for the outer ring, the inner ring, the post, and the post extension. I measured out how wide I wanted the inner and the outer ring so the cuffs didn't hit or interfere with each other when I was rotating them. In order to make the holes for the bolts, I had to know the exact measurement around the circumference of each piece, so that the holes on either side lined up. To get this, I used a piece of tape, which is a trick I picked up from another video which this particular part of the design is from. Taping around the circumference and then taking that tape and folding it in half gets you exactly halfway. And then if I put a mark at either end of the tape, those 2 holes will line up. For the inner ring, which required 4 holes, I then just folded the tape in half again and I was able to get the quarter. As you can see, my hacksawing skills are not great, but I made sure to neaten up any rough edges using some sandpaper. I then used epoxy glue to assemble the handle and attach it to the outer ring. This was created using an offcut of the main post and a right angle connector. A little note here, epoxy is terrible stuff. It's toxic. If it touches your skin, please wash your hands or wash your skin immediately. Also, use it in a well-ventilated area because the smell is horrible. With those pieces done, I could finally work on the assembly of the top and the bottom plates. Both plates will connect to the posts via a PVC adapter, which is epoxy glued to the wood. I let those dry to the side, and while that was happening, I worked on the assembly of the main post and the axes to just see if that all kind of worked together. The inner and the outer ring are held together by 1/4 inch bolts and separated by a nut at either end to help keep it all center. This can be really fiddly to do, and I'm really sorry there's no real good angle of me doing this, but you can kind of see that this is the final result. The outer ring is connected to the inner, which gives us one axis, and the inner is connected to the post, which gives us the other axis. I made sure to leave a little space at the top of the post so I could attach the plate with the PVC adapter later. I then moved on to making the final bolt holes for the post. The main post required a bolt at the base so that the extension could attach to that, and then the extension required a few different holes so it could be adjusted. That all seemed to be coming together nicely. Next, it was time to finish up the top plate. For the top plate, I found the center of the wood and then I marked out 3 mounting points for a slightly shorter 1/4 inch bolt to go through. Make sure that you use a bolt that is short enough to attach to your camera but not damage it. Next, I had a look at the bottom plate, and there were a few different methods of weighing the bottom, but I found these cool galvanized metal plates with 10mm bolts that I could bolt to the base, allowing me to have more adjustability and an option to add more or take some away with ease. Also note that the base is a little bit longer than the top plate to allow for more space for weights. I marked out the points where I wanted the bolts to go, making sure they weren't too close to the edges to avoid any splintering. I then used a 10mm spade bit so I could cut out those holes again, sanding the edges to make it cleaner. Once that was all done, I glued the base to the extension post. I then double checked my work, and then with all the pieces ready, it was time to get painting. With a quick layer of spray paint and a little bit of drying time, everything's ready to be assembled. So The outer ring was connected to the inner ring was connected to the main post, the post extension, which allows us for more counterbalance ability, was inserted into the main post and bolted in place, and then I added the weights, 4 either side, and then I mounted up the camera, thinking about the main distribution of weight and acting accordingly. And done! Want to see some footage? Pretty cool, right? And I mean, for this price, like, that's amazing. I had so much fun making this little DIY stabilizer. If you have any other ideas for other DIY projects that are camera related that you would like to see, leave them in the comments below. Let me know, because I'd like to continue doing this sort of thing as well. They're a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to give it a big fat thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of my face and learn a little bit more about filmmaking in the process, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next Sunday.